Many ages ago, when this ancient planet was not quite so ancient, long before man recorded his history, it was the time of Middle-earth, when man shared his days with elves, dwarves, wizards, goblins, dragons, and hobbits. In the lands of Middle-earth,
Hey folks, it's the Blind Guy here, coming back at you with a good old movie recommendation, where I recommend a movie that came out before 1980, and today I am recommending that you watch the 1977 version of The Hobbit, starring Orson Bean as the voice of Bilbo, and Richard Boone as Smaug, and the great John Huston as Gandalf. This movie is great, especially in light of the abomination that was the trilogy that came out in 2012, 2013, and 2014. So what makes this movie so much better than that? Well, it also has brother Theodore, who's a bit of an eccentric actor playing the voice of Gollum, which is also pretty fantastic. You can see him in The Burbs, actually. He's one of the Klopeks in The Burbs. But what makes this movie so great is I always thought, now don't get all fired up here. I'm not saying The Hobbit's a better book than the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I've always thought that The Hobbit as a book would translate into a single movie better than the Lord of the Rings did, because The Hobbit's a much more linear story. It's a little bit more for children, just a little bit, but it moves from beginning to end much faster, and I just thought it would have made a great 3-hour movie, and then Peter Jackson said, nope, I'm not going to do that, and he ruined the whole thing. But this one is good. This one is about 90 minutes, and it's probably a little short, but it's a cartoon, it's animated, so they had to do that, of course. It's pretty faithful to the book. It skips a few things just for time purposes, unlike the other trilogy that stretches out very minor things in the book and even adds some things from the Silmarillion. This one has to edit out a few things, but that's okay. And a little bit of a spoiler, a lot more of the dwarves die in this for some reason than they did in the actual book. I don't know why they did that, but it's there. I believe this is a Japanese production, just judging by the names and the credits. But it's got great music.
15 birds in pine fir trees, their feathers were fanned in a fiery breeze. But funny little birds, they had no wings. Oh, what shall we do with the funny little things? Oh, what shall we do with the funny little things? Help!
And just the characters themselves are great in this rendition of The Hobbit. I can't recommend it enough. You should. It's easy to find. You can stream it. I'm sure you can rent it on YouTube. But the 1977 The Hobbit, especially, I'll have to tell you this. One of my favorite parts of this movie is, well, it's pretty funny. It's got some funny lines in it, which are great. Bilbo's a pretty funny character in this movie. I like his portrayal quite a bit. And then Gandalf, John Huston's Gandalf is just exceptional in this movie. I always viewed that as, whenever I'd hear him in other movies as a kid, I always thought, oh, that's Gandalf. I didn't ever do it the other way around and think, well, that's John Huston. I always thought that this was such an iconic voice role for him. And then Smaug in this movie is great. He's not overdone like doing a dragon voice. He just does a very intimidating, kind of bored, mocking-ish voice that's very great. His portrayal's just really cool in this movie. But one of the scenes I like the best is with the 3 trolls that they encounter. Those 3 trolls are really well done, and then the turning to stone and things like that. It's just, the spiders are great, the Goblin King's great, the Goblin music's great, the Elvish music's great. It's just a great movie. I've never had anybody had a bad experience with it. Lots of Hobbit fans think it's just really exceptional. And so that's the 1977 The Hobbit. We'll just say starring John Huston. There we go. We'll give him his credit. Starring John Huston. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Laters on the Minjay.
Laters on the Minjay.